Good morning, and welcome to week 2 of our online co-rec. This week, we are going to have a normal week. So, week 1, I kind of kept some of the assignments back so that it wasn't overwhelming. But this week, we're going to start to really hit that grind of our semester. And this week, there's a lot of instructions and how to's on completing our assignments and what to do for each assignment. So let's get into the week 2 assignment list, and then I'll go through some of the instructions and apps and things that you need to do to complete this week's assignments. Okay, so our week 2 assignment list. Order that textbook or get that textbook if you have not already. It is due by the end of this week. Watch the instructional video, which you are. I'm going to go over quickly what active reading is. We will be completing active reading every single week with each chapter of our book. You're going to watch some videos on how to scan documents into your phone because the active reading means that you're going to be writing in your books and you're going to show me, take pictures or scan pictures of that active reading and send it to me each week so that I can see your active reading. In class, I would just flip through it and check it, but since we are online, you need to send me pictures or scans of that active reading. There's also some extra credit that you can do, which we'll talk about in a minute. Make sure that you download the Blackboard app in your phone if you do not have it. It helps. It's a time saver, and there's some assignments that you can complete when you're on the go. But some assignments you need to have a computer to complete those assignments, especially Word documents or our major essays. You're going to actively read the first chapter of our book, and you're going to submit that active reading, those scanned pictures, to an assignment link, which I will show you in a minute. You're also going to actively read your first student case study. So we're going to go over a few student case studies this week. The first case study is titled, Will She Make It? You're going to actively read through it. And then I have that you are going to write a journal entry or a reader response paragraph about that student case study, Will She Make It? And then you're going to need to register in Khan Academy this week. I can't assign Khan Academy units until you have registered. That's why we need to register this week so that next week you can start completing those Khan Academy assignments. Okay, so let's get started. Here's just your textbook information, just like last week. This is the What is Active Reading infograph. I want to quickly go over this. This is one of those things that you'll perfect as we go. But first thing, active reading is two things. It's annotating, which is underlining, circling, highlighting only important words and phrases. If you underline complete sentences, that's almost nothing to your brain. Your brain has been drawing lines for a really long time. But when you focus and pull only those important names, dates, and phrases or keywords, your brain is forced to pay attention to what you're doing. That's why this is called active reading. Because you've read a paragraph in the past, you've read a paragraph or a page like 100 times, and you're still thinking, I don't know what I just read. That's because your brain isn't actively engaged. This active reading keeps your brain engaged. So you need to circle, highlight, underline all those important names, dates, words, but do not underline complete sentences. You will not get credit if you underline complete sentences. Now, the next thing you're going to do is once you've annotated each paragraph or a paragraph, you're going to go back and summarize that paragraph. Now it says summarize in a few words, less than 10. That's crazy talk. Less than 5. Okay. So if you just read a paragraph, let's say it's on Maria, which is our first chapter, and it tells you that Maria is adopted and born in Moldova, you would just say, of course, annotate Maria, Moldova, adopted, and then in the summary, you might say Maria, early life, right? So I've got a picture down here that tells you what to do and what not to do. This side, of course, is the what not to do. Notice that they underlined everything. You won't get credit if you underline complete sentences. This one, they did great annotating, but there's no summary. And this one, not annotated, but there's a summary. So these grades are really simple. If you annotate, and this is for every paragraph you've got to annotate and summarize. So once you have finished annotating and summarize, you're going to scan pictures and you're going to send it to me. The grading is very simple. If you annotated well, you get 50 points. If you summarized well, you get the other 50 points, which equals 100. If you did not summarize or you did not annotate well, you could get 50 points to 0 points, depending on what the problem is. And I usually leave a little note saying, remember, you're not supposed to underline every single word or whatever, but usually I give you some sort of note on what went wrong, why you didn't receive full credit. We're going to actively read every assignment in this class. So this might be a little tedious at first, but active reading will go really quickly. It's an easy skill to pick up. Okay, so now that we know what active reading is, here are 2 different videos on how to scan documents using either your iPhone or your Android, depending on what type of phone you have. So depending on your phone, watch these videos because it will tell you how to scan. You can't just take pictures because then you're sending me multiple files. And if you scan something, it takes all of those scanned documents or all of those scanned pages, and it allows you to send them to me in one file. I don't want several files. I don't have time to look through every 10 or 12 files. Everything needs to be sent in one file, which means you need to scan. So watch the appropriate video in congruence with what phone you have. Okay, now this is how to upload your active reading. So we're at the point now we've actively read our chapter, we've scanned our photos into one file in our phone, and this video shows you how to upload your active reading into our Blackboard assignment. And our Blackboard assignment is right here. See where it says active reading due 9/5/25 because it's due, everything's due Friday by noon. You'll click this link and then you will upload. See, where's my upload? This little paper clip, this attachment will allow you to upload your assignment. But this video right here, I'm sorry, where is it? This video right here, how to upload your active reading in Blackboard Ultra, this will give you exact instructions on how to upload those scanned copies of your active reading. Remember, I need a picture of each page of your active reading so that I know that you did your job. And I've got to be able to read what your summaries are, so it's got to be a pretty good scan. It can't be blurry or messy or just half of the page. You've got to make sure. And you can do 2 pages at a time. Just open your book and take a scan of the 2 pages when the book is flat. But I need every single page when you do that scan. Once you have the scan, you're going to upload it into our active reading for the week. Now, this is, if you do not have your book, I do have a PDF of the power of determination. You will have to go to a campus if you do not have a printer at home and print this PDF, or a library or whatever is close to you. You will need to print this if you do not have your book yet. If you have your book, you can do all the writing in your book. If not, print this PDF of the introduction. Next, if you'd like, I'm sorry, not at the end. Yeah, I'm sorry, the introduction. If you'd like, you can actively read the introduction to our book for extra credit. And basically that just means I will make a note that you did your active reading for the introduction, and I'm going to save that grade for a grade replacement later on when you need it. So completely up to you. You do not have to do the extra credit. You do have to read the first chapter, which is Maria, and actively read it and submit your active reading right here. This is just a note telling you what chapter, what pages that the Maria chapter begins and ends on. This one is where you're going to turn in that scanned copy that we went over just a minute ago. Here is this week's case study that you're going to actively read. You do not have to send me a copy of your active reading for the case study, only for the first chapter of our book entitled Maria. And then here is where you're going to write that reader response about Maria. So my copy looks a little different from yours because I'm on the teacher end. Right down here at the bottom, you will see a place to start writing your essay, just like we did with the pre-assessment last week. So just answer those questions. And then finally, you need to register in Khan Academy. This is really simple. You just either click here or use this link to sign in and register in Khan Academy. You're going to use your first and last name that's on the SPC records because that's the name I have. And then you're going to use your SPC student email. This week there are no assignments. It's just getting registered because, again, I can't give you any assignments in Khan until you're registered in the classroom. So this week we're going to spend registering, and next week we will begin doing those Khan Academy lessons. Okay, so if this feels a little confusing, just go back to the assignment list and start checking off everything that you do bit by bit. Take it one assignment at a time. Everything you need for these assignments is located in that week 2 folder underneath that assignment list. If you still have questions, please email me. I am glad to get your emails and I will respond as quickly as I can. Mondays, I have a lot of classes, but Tuesdays and Thursdays are much more open for me. So I hope you all have a good week. Take a deep breath. I know it feels a little overwhelming. Do one assignment at a time, one video at a time, and you will be great. Let me know if you have questions. Have a good week. Bye, guys.